Hello, 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 YouTube. That's right. It's your girl Ebony with Real Talk Therapy 101 coming back from what it feels like a long hiatus for our video for this week. If you're new to the channel, I want to thank you for joining. Want to introduce myself, tell you guys who I am, what I do, and the purpose for this channel. Also want to encourage you to go back and check us out from day one to this one. And to all my loyal viewers, thank you so much for sticking with me, being here with me as we make the transitions to how I have to bring content now. Because your girl is what they've been saying is booked and busy. For real, for real. But YouTube, my name is Ebony Campbell, and I am a certified alcohol and drug counselor in the state of North Carolina. I am also a certified peer support specialist as well as a master level qualified professional in behavioral mental health. I am currently working on getting my master's in social work, which would be my second master's degree, but getting that master's so that I can become a licensed clinical social worker. The purpose of this channel is to have real conversations about what all of us may encounter at some point or another in life and how to find the resources we need to get from one place to the other. If you are someone that has been with me since the very beginning, you can see that I'm kind of moving up in this YouTube world, but I still keep it real. So if I make a mistake, if something goes on while I am taping content, you get it. Because life is real. Things really happen to us. And there's no point of trying to fix our wrongs in the middle of the wrong. You know, you're gonna make a mistake. Accept it. Be okay with it. Doesn't matter who tries to point it out. It's your mistake, and you can learn and make the differences from it. Another fun thing that I do on the channel is just something that gets me at a place of letting you guys know who I am and what some of my things are. And before moving forward, want to say Happy Valentine's Day to everybody. I call it Happy Love Day, Cupid Day. Just all of those good things. So February the 14th is actually a calendar specified date where we all should be able to show some love in one capacity or the other. So before we get into our real talk conversation for today, I usually feature a custom made t-shirt that my husband and I we do have a business making t-shirts. So I try to make a custom made t-shirt for whatever the conversation is going to be for the day. And I have a very, very heavy addiction to Coach. I am now accepting that addiction and owning it. So I always share a Coach bag and or accessory of the day for the video, as well as kicks of the day. So with my new setup and trying to learn some stuff, I'm just going to tell you guys what shoes I have on. If they're not new to the channel, I may not be able to show them, or I'll be working through that. But I do love tennis shoes now. I went from boots and heels to sneakerhead a few years ago, and love that transition. So today, of course, you see me in my red, and this is a shirt that if you have been watching the channel, you may have seen before, but it says "You Matter," and then I have Real Talk Therapy 101 on the shirts. And so with today being all about love, self-love is something that we usually kind of let fall by the wayside when we start having feelings and doing different things and just having life for other people. And so today's conversation is to explain to you that no matter what capacity or role you play in life, you matter, and your mental stability should matter the most. Your girl also wears glasses. I don't know right now where my glasses are. I may be able to look in this Coach bag of the day and find a pair. So if I do, we'll go from there. But if not, y'all bear with me. So my Coach bag of the day is my Fatigue City Tote that I got, I think in November last year when it first came out. But I'm in love with this City Tote, so much room in it, and the fact that I had on Fatigue was the reason for keeping Um, keeping this bag flowing for the week. And then my kicks for the day are, and I found some glasses. So yes, this is a Coach glasses case, and yes, both pair of my glasses are Coach frames. But I I just kept this, so it just does everything that I need it to do. So let's see. We got some glasses, so let's get those on because your girl need to see. Shoes for today are my all red Vapor Max. Because I do have on red. Red is actually my favorite color. It has been my favorite color since I was a girl, little bitty girl. So I love red. You guys know that I'm a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, and our colors, are red, crimson, and cream, or red. But at any rate, it's Valentine's Day, so we wear red for the representation of love. But today's conversation, we are going to talk about and break down the good old adage or good old phrase or whatever you want to call it that a lot of people use. That good old do unto others as we would have them to do unto us. Do we really do unto others as we want them to do unto us? Or can we find ourselves in situations at times in our life where we want people to treat us with respect and we want people to love us and be all over us and give us all of these things? We want that, but are we really giving that? And in the habit of giving and take, or what you expect out of a friendship, out of a relationship, out of a partnership, out of any kind of relationship that you may have, out of a working relationship with colleagues, and out of relationships at our church. It's just all the things that we do in life. We socially interact with other people, and do we really put out what we want to receive? And when you start to think about that, and when you're going through tough times, do you really take the time to realize that this might be my turn to receive something that I put out there? There's another one, you know what I'm saying? Feed people with a long handle spoon. Have you ever seen a long handle spoon? Do you know how to maneuver a long handle spoon? Or give them a taste of their own medicine? So when we're on the giving end of all of these things, when we say, oh, I'm going to feed them from a long handle spoon, and oh, I'm going to give them a taste of their own medicine, or oh, I'm going to treat them the way that they treat me. Have you ever stopped and considered that somewhere along your journey, that this is your karma when it comes back to you? Have you ever really sat down and done a self-assessment, a self-evaluation of how things can come back to you? You done straightened up your act, and now you're everything that you want other people to be to you. But somehow along the way, you're now getting a taste of your own medicine. And when we feed it to somebody else, oh, we want them to have the whole bottle. But when it's your turn to get a taste of your own medicine, how receiving are you of taking in what you've really put out? And y'all have heard me say this before. The good old word called accountability. What does that really mean? Ownership. Do you take ownership of everything that you do? Everything that you don't do? Do you take ownership for when something doesn't go wrong in your life? Do you take ownership when things fail in your life? Or do you go around like a little busy bee, telling your version of the story, adding something on every time you tell it, lying so it can sound good, so other people can woo and wah and ooh and oh because you in your feelings? Or do you really sit down and consider your circumstances and think, wow, I'm in this predicament. And instead of me going around here trying to rally up the troops and put people on my bandwagon, this might be something that was headed my way anyway. This might be some of that medicine, them hard pills to swallow. That's another one. It might be time for me to figure out how to swallow this hard pill. because what you put out is what you bring in. So here on Real Talk Therapy, I just realized I didn't explain this. When I do any type of I don't know, mentorship, counseling, conversations, whatever you want to call it, when I'm talking to someone, I use anything that comes to mind to help make it plain. You might hear me talk from the standpoint of a movie, a song, cartoons, whatever, to illustrate the point I'm trying to make. Because a lot of times you don't want people to miss what's real about having that conversation. And if you are affiliated with me in a real way, I give it to you in a real way. And I want you to give it to me in a real way. I might not like it. I might have a hard time swallowing the pill, but if you give me what's real, that's how I know you care about me. You know, and so just using that in cliches and all these different things that we break down. Also, when you are in mental health or providing behavioral health treatment, one of the strategies and coping mechanisms is whatever the individual's higher power is or their belief, spiritual belief. I on the channel speak from my personal spiritual belief, but if I'm providing services, it's definitely from my client's standpoint what they believe, and so I make it a point of getting to know them and to know what's going on with them, so that their service caters to them, and it's not about me. So one of the things about doing this type of work, you do have to establish a selfless attitude. Because when I am working, it's all about treating the individual in front of me by any means necessary. Because in that capacity, you matter to me. So here on my channel, where it's personal, I may reference the Christianity spiritual belief because that is my spiritual belief. So if it's not yours, I want to encourage you to know I'm not throwing any shots. I'm not trying to convert you. I'm not trying to say, come, worship with me and go to church. I'm just giving it to you from my spiritual belief if that's what, hits me at the time. So don't get discouraged. Don't leave me. Just, apply it to whatever your spiritual belief may be. So going back into that, we always, I I don't know, just the different things that you start trying to convince yourself of why you may be going through what you're going through. But taking all of that stuff and taking all of it off the table, at the end of the day, you really do reap what you sow. And even though you may reap what you sow, even if you're the best person in the world, you are not exempt from bad times and bad things happening to you. So I said that about the spiritual reference to say in the Bible. There's good old Job, and anybody that's familiar with the Holy Bible, King James Version, whatever version you may read, at some point you've come across Job. And Job is illustrated in the Bible as someone who did everything that God told him to do to the letter. And if you read that book, Job went through some serious stuff to be somebody who did everything God told him to do. I imagine he kept all of the 10 commandments. He treated people the way he wanted to be treated. If he saw somebody on the side of the road, he helped them out. I just imagine that Job was this type of model citizen, the good Samaritan even, that the Bible speaks of in a parable. Just somebody out here that tries to do the right thing all the time. And we know that Job ended up, his wife, pretty much told him, look, you're going through all this stuff. You need to go ahead on and cuss God out and tell him to get away from here with this. He had these 3 friends who came to him with their points of view. And, he lost his children. He lost his house. Job lost everything. Then he even had leprosy or whatever he may have. Job went through some stuff for somebody who didn't go out here and reap or sow, that didn't sow any discord or didn't sow any confusion or didn't sow lies or didn't go out here backstabbing people and doing all this dirt. Job did everything right according to the Bible. And then he still went through some of the toughest stuff that I just can't even imagine making it on the other side of. So in comparison to Job, when I am in turmoil, I now know how to sit still and sound it out and accept it and know that at some point this turmoil is not meant to destroy me. It's coming to teach me something. I don't go out here now and place blame. Now, don't get me wrong, I used to. It was everybody's fault but Ebony. You know, the chips fell where they may, but I did everything right. I was good to whoever it was. I. Not focusing on the times that I fell short, the times that I didn't follow through, the times that I didn't do what I was supposed to do, whether it was in a relationship, in a job, if it was something I told somebody I was going to do, whatever it may be. We fall short. You know, you can do something simple as telling somebody, hey, right now I got to do something and I'm going to call you back. How often do you really follow through when you finish something with returning every call that you said you're going to return? You're human and we obligate ourselves sometimes to things that we truly are not able to get through. So you got to recognize your strengths. And in recognizing your strengths, you got to be able to recognize areas that you need improvement in. So I don't speak on weaknesses because you got to be careful with the words that come out of your mouth. They manifest. You start to believe those things. So if you don't convince yourself that you matter, then you'll start, letting people do anything to you without realizing they're doing it to you. Because the manipulator will help you manipulate yourself into doing what they want you to do if you aren't careful. Hence the Jim Joneses of the world. Hence the puppet masters of the world that are sitting you right on their lap. You their puppet, and you doing everything that they want you to do. They guilt shame you into doing it. They manipulate you into doing it. And because you're so invested in other people, you don't take the time to realize that you matter. Being able to validate your own feelings is something you have to learn to do. It's just like a habit. If you're so accustomed to running to everybody's rescue, but you're not accustomed to asking help when you're the damsel or dame, whatever you want to call the man, in distress, you don't know how to open your mouth and say, hey, I need help getting out the hole. Now, I done got you out the hole and I fell in the hole trying to get you out. But you just gonna peek down in there and look at me and keep on rolling. Come on, dog. So when we help people, we even now have to realize, all right, they down there in this hole. I ain't trying to go in the hole, but I want to get them out. So sometimes it requires us, even when we want to help others, to seek outside and additional help to help someone else so we don't get down in the hole without the ability to get out. Because I'm here to tell you, everything that you would do for somebody else is not going to always be what that person would do for you. So you got to set limits. You got to have boundaries. You got to stop using the word friend so freaking loosely. If it's a relationship, whether it's boyfriend or girlfriend, husband or wife, or whatever, partner to partner, if you are in a committed relationship with somebody, it has to be a healthy balance of give and take, but you also have to be able to recognize when you are wrong and fell short. And the same apology that you want from the other person, you got to be able to give it when you fall short. Placing blame is easy. Accepting blame is hard for us as human beings. I don't know why. But I'm going to tell you something. It's the most freeing feeling in the world because I ain't got to keep trying to hold on and have a defense every time the subject comes up. You know what? I messed up. I dropped the ball. That's another thing that people say. You know, I didn't follow through. It frees you of trying to walk around like you're blameless because nobody is perfect. A lot of times there is a division on both sides when we're looking at relationships. And that's why they're so unhealthy if you don't do the work. Quit expecting stuff from people that you know you ain't getting ready to do for people. If you know you can sit down and say, Joe Blow did 10 things for me this week, and I ain't do nothing but 2 things for Joe Blow. I got some catching up to do. Instead of going into next week, and Joe Blow 8 more favors. Joe Blow gonna do 10 more for you. Now you behind even further when it comes to reciprocation, which is a fancy word for give back what you want to receive. A lot of people believe that what you put out here in the atmosphere is what comes back to you. Whatever your belief is, I can just tell you, whether you don't put out nothing but good, bad can come to you. It's life. It's the truth. You can make changes and become a much better version of yourself, but that doesn't mean you're not going to run into some type of opposition or discord in your life. What that means is the next time it comes around, you should know how to handle it different, way more different than you did the time before. It's that good old thing. Hurt me once, shame on you. Shame on me. Hurt me twice, shame on you. I don't know how I go. But the first time around, you should get the lesson, especially because we're talking to adults here. We're talking to adults. We're talking about trial and error here. We're talking about following through and owning what you've done instead of looking at what everybody else has done. So, to enhance a little bit on our little conversation about you mattering, y'all know I pull out my little books here in a heartbeat. And one of the things that I wanted to talk about is we can be in friendships and relationships, and things can be altering for us. Things cannot make sense to us. Depending on where we are in our adulthood, whether we're early adulthood, middle adulthood, or late adulthood, how we deal with stuff, it's different. 20-year-old Ebony didn't do what 30-year-old Ebony, definitely what 40-year-old Ebony ain't doing. The things that attract me more to, things that I want to do, it's life-changing events, and there are things that go on differently, but you have a little bit of narcissism built in all of us. There's a little bit of all of us that is determined to say, my thing is, well, I think this is how it should go. And if it were me, I would. Remember, y'all know that's what the ones I hate the most, because people love to say that. Don't say if it were me. Just say, hey, I think in this situation, I might do something different, but shoot, I ain't in that situation. So I really can't say. You really don't know until you are in the other person's shoes or in the other person's situation. And to be honest, you don't know what to do in your own situation. Sometimes we winging it. So with life-changing events, communication is so important. You have to be able to resolve problems and be able to recognize that frequent misunderstandings during discussions don't mean that we're fighting. I just don't agree. I hear you. I understand, but I don't agree. I don't have to. So some of us are so strong-willed that we want to push our way of thinking on other people, not realizing that we are all individually made. So nobody is supposed to agree. There will be some times that people do agree with you. Will be some times when you break some things down that people will be on the forefront of being able to understand it better because they didn't have the breakdown that they had before having the conversation with you. So one of the examples that I give when providing behavioral and mental health treatment, I think back on how certain things helped me as I received it and what my outcome was. And if it was something positive that helped me to move in the right direction, I learned to implement that when I'm providing services. So for instance, if I am dealing with something that causes me to get so emotional that I cry, I no longer look for somebody to wipe my tears. I hear people say, I just want somebody to be there to wipe my tears. For what? Wipe your own tears. And when you really in the mud let me give y'all this right. When you're really in the mud, I'm gonna tell you how to really matter. Because if nobody hands you a tissue and no tissues are in sight for you to grab, you're gonna wipe your eyes. You're gonna wipe your own tears because nobody is there to do it for you. So you're not gonna sit there with these tears just falling down your face. We having real talk now. And in the midst of that, you're gonna do like this, or you're gonna wipe this away, or you're gonna do this because you want to wipe your face and get rid of those tears. So when your shirt is wet from those tears, when you have to wipe them yourself, whatever it is you're trying to get on the other side of, is going to mean something to you because you're going to have them wet spots on your sleeves when you finish. You're going to have that memory of being able to pick yourself up and move on from whatever just had you in that despair when you finish. Tears are a way of release. And I don't know if it's toxins or whatever in our tears. I hear people say that or what. I don't know. All I know is I have to really, 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 really love you if I'm going to take my hand and wipe your tears. You got to really mean something to me. And there's some people out there to do. And then if I am going to be the one, excuse my ring, guys, if I'm going to be the one to hand you a tissue, you got to really, really mean something to me. But how you know you mean even more to me is when I allow you to feel that for yourself. Because the minute I hand you a tissue, every time something goes wrong with you, you're going to try to find me to hand you whatever you feel like you need to get over whatever it is you're going through. If you are a parent, and even if you're not a parent, think about a child when they first learn how to crawl or walk, and walking especially. When toddlers learn that they can get up off their knees and put their little feet on the floor and they can walk, man, that toddler is unstoppable until they fall. And I don't know why, but every child, when they fall, they look around and then they cry. Especially if you're paying attention to them and if you're running to them to pick them up every time they fall. But if that child looks around and they might see you, but because you're not honing in on the fact that they fell, and even if you're pretending to be doing something else and not notice the fall, even that child is going to pick him or herself up the best way they can figure out how, and they're going to try to walk again. So if you don't get in the way of a little toddler developing, you shouldn't get in the way of an adult having to deal with a life lesson that 9 times out of 10, now, if we're being real, you brought it on yourself. But even if it's not something that you brought on yourself, it's happening because it has to develop your strengths. It's an area that you need improvement in. And sometimes we can get in the way of the work that needs to be done when we out here trying to save folks. Because you're going to keep trying to save folk and be there for folk who, when it's time for them to show up for you, if you think they're going to show up for you, you got another thing coming. Givers have to establish limits because takers have none. It's their MO. It's their way of life. It's their scam to get by. There's some shiesty, low-down, dirty individuals who only want what they want. They could care less about their actions and what it do to other people until they're on the receiving end. Now, one thing about it, being a good person, still having all those things, to go on, because I'm finally at a place in my life where when I say I'm unbothered, my level of unbotheredness is the bomb. Words definitely don't affect me. I don't care what you say. Your tone don't affect me. I don't care how loud you get. The only thing that affects your girl where she is right now is if you put your hands on me. Because then now I'm going to have to become a little scrappy on you. And y'all remember his famous words on the first season of Love and Hip Hop. Scrap said I'm going to have to put them paws on. Made a whole song. Again, I've shared with you guys, I don't even become disrespectful until I'm disrespected. But when you're out here constantly trying to get over, when you're constantly out here making excuses for where you didn't do what you were supposed to do, and then you're trying to get other folks on your bandwagon, and then you're trying to tell the story from a place of I did everything right, and then they did this to me. Get over it, because at some point in life, if you didn't do it to the person that got you, you done did it before. So get somewhere and sit down and move on. Find the blessing in the lesson and keep it moving. Because if you stay stuck in that uncharted water, I'm here to tell you right now, no licensed clinical therapist, no licensed clinical social worker, no licensed professional counselor, no life coach, no pastor, no good girlfriend, no nobody out here in this world is going to help you if you keep doing the same thing and then wondering why it's happening to you. Gotta be an adult. There's maturity levels to being an adult. Some of y'all just big grown people around here. You old enough to be an adult, but you daggone ain't mature worth 2 cents. And it's because you keep trying to convince yourself that somebody owes you something. Nobody owes you anything. Right is right, and wrong is wrong. And when you wrong, and you want to have a conversation with me, I'm going to hear you because I have to let you know I value you and where you're coming from. And I get it. And I might even offer recommendations and ways for you to try to get the answers that you feel like you want or need. But I'm also going to ask you to look at you, because that's where the real work begins. And when we start doing that, if we did that first, we can eliminate a whole lot of the snowball effect of things happening after that don't even have to happen. And then what really gets me is people that say they love somebody, but then do something to that person that they know they wouldn't want the individual to do to them. Taking us back to the title of this video, taking us back to what we're talking about. Do unto others as you would have them to do unto you. If you're in a relationship, you need to sit down with your partner and establish the terms and grounds of your relationship. If you are married, kind sir, dear ma'am, that changes the dynamics. And nothing or nobody should come before your spouse. And if you get out here, because life happens, and you go through a situation where something or someone got in the way of you fulfilling your duties as a husband or a wife, and then the two of you decide, hey, I messed up. I want to fix it. And I want to fix it with you. And if you don't want me to, hey, I got to fall back. But I have to tell you how I messed up. And the same thing can apply to a friendship. Own it. I messed up. I didn't know how to come to you, but I'm coming now. I didn't do right. I didn't know how to handle it. It's okay to be vulnerable. Some of us are afraid to be seen in our nakedness. But when it's an intimate relationship, I can't let you see me naked sometimes and then not let you see me naked other times. Because that's what vulnerability is. It's I'm shedding my skin. This is who I am. This is what I got going on. I struggle here. And for the sake of having what I have with you, or valuing what I have with you, I'm here. Sorry. Truly sorry. Humility, even. And that's a little deeper than just saying you sorry. Because some of y'all say, I'm sorry. Knowing daggone well in your mind, you not. You want to say it to sugarcoat it so you can continue to get whatever it is that you want to get. Adults shouldn't maneuver through life that way. At least that's my stand on it. But as we maneuver through these things, and as we continue to grow mentally, and as we go on these journeys, I want you to matter so much to yourself in the concept of you don't just matter when you want people to do right by you. You matter when it's your turn to do right by people. Because the same hurt that you feel, you've done it to somebody. The same way you're running around here talking about folk. Huh? You better believe you done been talked about. So that's why that stuff don't matter to me. Especially if you have the opportunity to say it to me, to my face, on my phone, wherever, and you don't. Man, when somebody come and tell me what you are around here saying and asking, I'm going to go ahead and tell you what my response is. Baby, he had the opportunity to call my phone. Should I even talk to the individual? And they didn't ask me. So next time you talk to them, let them know, don't ask you. Come see me. And it ain't no beef. We're just going to have a conversation. Because I ain't fighting unless somebody put their hands on me. I ain't trying to go to big people time out. But at any rate, when you look at the concept of you mattering and doing unto others the way you want things to be done for you, you matter from the thought process of knowing that I want people who have wronged me to have a conversation with me, but I gotta also want to have the conversation with people that I have wronged more so. It's important. Reestablish the fact that you are a good individual. Reestablish the fact that you're woman and or man enough in a mature mental capacity to say, you know what? I took advantage of this situation and I didn't expect it to come out this way. But since it did, I gotta come to you. You mean that much to me. I'm not gonna talk around you. I'm gonna talk to you. That's some gangster stuff. That's some real processing and healing. That's some real work. You know, I'm messed up. And if I don't even have the opportunity to make it right, before I can move further or get from this place in my own journey, I have to tell you, from the bottom of my heart, I apologize. I never intended for stuff to go this way. In the moment, I wasn't looking at myself because the narcissism wouldn't let me see that I was wrong. So there's a little narcissism in all of us. Because when we're so busy placing blame, we're not looking in the mirror and we're not making ourselves a priority to accept our shortcomings and our downfalls. We just want to reap the benefit. We don't want to do the correction. And if you're quick to point out what's wrong in somebody else, stop looking through smoke and mirrors. Stop looking through rose-colored glasses. Stop throwing rocks and hiding your hand. Walking around with a pocket full of rocks, you done threw one, and somebody looking at you because it came from your direction, and you looking over there like you stupid, and you don't know that you threw the rock. Because at some point in time in your life, you're gonna have to answer for every rock you threw, and every time you hid your hand. And some of y'all around here talking about people to others that can't wait to tell the person that you're talking about. I let folks sound out and hold on to whatever they have. Because if it ain't my story to tell, I don't open my mouth. That way I ain't in a mix or nothing. I ain't got nothing going on. But I listen so that I can assist whoever it is that felt confident, you felt confident enough to come to me with whatever they were feeling. I ain't no go-between. I ain't got time for that. I done did that. But what I am is a loyal and devoted friend. What I am is a loyal and devoted, wife. What I am is an honest, loyal, devoted person who don't mind saying, I messed up. Dang, I ain't never look at it from that way. Oh, man. Now that I'm listening to you, the way that I perceive it and look at it, I get where you're coming from. And that's where you have to be. You got to hear people out and stop thinking somebody owe you something. On my nerves with that. But at any rate, I love y'all. Thank y'all so much for stopping by. Please, please, please subscribe if you haven't already done so. Like, share, comment, tell me some things that you guys want to talk about. And as I get accustomed to my new schedule with school and work and my new way of life, I will be bringing more content. But until then, as I wait for my Cupid to get here and be able to celebrate our love day, enjoy those people around you. Enjoy your loved ones. Live in your moments because once they're gone, we don't get them back, guys. So stop being stuck. Stop looking for excuses. Accept, the consequences of your actions and move on. It's really easy. It's harder to stay stuck somewhere because it's harder to move from that place. Trust me. And I ain't telling you something I heard. I'm telling you something you know. So until next time, it's your girl Ebony with Real Talk Therapy 101. Y'all be easy. It's the weekend. Practice self-care. And I'll see you guys next time.